Dear students, today we are going to discuss about very important issue, that is water pollution. So all of you know very well water is a basic necessity of the life. When we see the water, it is the most valuable natural resource present on the planet Earth. It is responsible for the existence of life on the earth, but all of you know very well we are polluting the water day by day. Unfortunately, it is getting polluted due to human activities. So, what is water pollution? Any undesirable change in the physical, chemical, and biological characteristics of the water which make it unfit for the human use or drinking is known as water pollution. So it means this change can be in the physical component of the water, or you can say change in the color of the water. It can be due to any change in the chemical characteristics of the water. It means it may be leading to the low DO or the BOD content, or the biological characteristics means there can be presence of some bacteria or some viruses in the water which may cause some diseases. So once again we are going to define what is water pollution. It is any undesirable change in the physical, chemical and biological characteristics of the water which make the water unfit for the drinking or human use, that is known as water pollution. So it means water is being polluted by many sources, or there are many causes of water pollution. Let us discuss them one by one. So first of all, we will deal with natural resources. What are the natural sources of the water pollution? It can be due to soil erosion, due to rain. It can be due to deposition of the dead organic matter or dead remains of plants and animals, high speed wind or the storms or the floods. They can pollute the natural water bodies, and that leads to the natural water pollution. But mainly man is responsible for the water pollution because man performs so many activities which leads to the pollution of the water. So such sources are called man-made sources. So human activities such as discharge of the industrial wastewater, domestic sewage, detergents, chemical fertilizers, pesticides, when they enter into the natural water bodies, that is causing the water pollution. So let us mainly focus upon the man-made sources which leads to the water pollution. So first of all, we will first source, that is sewage and community wastewater, means all the domestic sector which is leading to the water pollution. So what is sewage? Sewage is human excreta. It includes organic waste from the food and the food processing. So sewage is often discharged into the water along with the washing or other things, and it is obviously leading to the water pollution. So wastewater which is released from the homes or the domestic sectors, then hotels, motels, restaurants, that is all rich in the organic matter and the detergents. So this wastewater which is rich in the organic food like rice or the other, it causes more growth of the bacteria and viruses, and it contaminates the water to great extent. So this treated or untreated wastewater which is released from the domestic sector or the residential communities, when enter into the water bodies, it pollutes the water bodies. So it means domestic sector which is having sewage and the community wastewater is leading to the water pollution of the water bodies. Similarly, the effluents of the oil refineries, that when discharged in lot of pollutants into the rivers or the oceans, and it leads to the water pollution. Then industrial wastewater or the industrial effluents is another big cause of water pollution. So we are having number of industries in the society. So all the industries, they release the wastewater. It can be rich in the number of metals, heavy metals like mercury, lead, cadmium, zinc, nickel, or inorganic pollutants like cyanides, acids, alkali, bleaching agents, because all the industries, they release or they manufacture different products. It can be metal, it can be non-metal, but all these are being washed away or carried away with the water released by the industry. This wastewater, which is rich in heavy metals or the inorganic pollutants, when enter into the water bodies like rivers, ponds, streams, it causes the water pollution. So it means organic pollutants like cellulose, which is being released by the textile industry, or the organic acids by the dyeing industry, that also causes the water pollution. Similarly, some molecules of the sugars. So it means organic pollutants when enter into the water bodies, that is also leading the water pollution. So industrial wastewater is very rich in pollutants. It can be organic or the inorganic, and it leads to the water pollution. Next source of water pollution is thermal power plants. So all of you know we use thermal power plants for the production of electricity. All the thermal power plants, they discharge hot water into the water bodies after the production of the electricity, after the production of the steam. So this hot water, it leads to the deficiency of the oxygen in the water bodies. Now when there is decline in the oxygen level, it reduces the quality of the water. Then agriculture sector is also playing major role. That means it is also responsible for the water pollution. So when excessive use of the chemical fertilizers or the pesticides which are sprayed on the crops, they are being washed away by the rainwater, by the surface runoff during the irrigation also, or flooding by the rainwater also, and ultimately it flows into the water bodies and it pollutes the water sources. So such insecticides, fungicides, which are used in the agriculture, they are carried away to the natural water resources or natural water source and make them poisonous. So this water is leading to the water pollution. So besides this, many human activities like bathing, washing of the clothes in the rivers, ponds, lakes, that also causes the water pollution. Then mining activities. The extraction of various metals, non-metals, or the minerals like coal, oil, iron, gold. It involves many physical and chemical processes and carries heavy metallic pollutants during the washing. So this water is also flown into the water bodies and it pollutes the water bodies or the water sources and leads to the water pollution. So the refuse dumps, septic tanks, seepage pits, they are all sources of the underground water pollution. So we can understand there are many human activities which are all leading to the water pollution, and ultimately that is leading to many harmful effects also. So it means this is not a good thing for the natural resources, rather it causes huge loss to the water resources. So let us see now what are the harmful effects or the consequences of water pollution. So we can well imagine that all the living organisms which are present on the surface of this earth, they want water for the survival. So health of all the living organisms which directly or indirectly uses the water, that is being affected by the water pollution. So various harmful effects of the water pollution like deoxygenation. So whensoever water get polluted with any kind of the organic or the domestic sewage, it is deficient in oxygen. So it leads to Deoxygenation means less amount of oxygen is present in the water. But all the plants or the animals which are living in the water bodies, they want oxygen to grow. When they don't get sufficient oxygen, that leads to the death of many aquatic animals. So deficiency of the dissolved oxygen content in the water bodies is leading to death of many aquatic animals like fishes or other animals. Then second harmful effect is eutrophication. So when sufficient amount of nitrogen content get flows into the water bodies, this excessive nitrate content, it causes algal blooming. Algal blooming means excessive or increased growth of aquatic plants over the surface of the water bodies. Now, when the whole surface of the water body is covered up with the algae, it does not allow the entry or penetration of the sunlight into the water bodies, which is needed for the photosynthesis by the green plants. So it means the rate of photosynthesis get decreased due to no availability or due to less availability of the sunlight. So this process is called eutrophication. What is eutrophication? Excessive nitrate content in the water bodies, it causes algal blooming and increased growth of these aquatic plants does not allow the entry of the sunlight and lead to decrease in the rate of photosynthesis. This process is called eutrophication. So it means when the whole surface of the water body will be covered, there is no rate of photosynthesis, and the death of the lake or the pond will automatically occur because of the death of the plants and animals inside the water bodies due to the more and more deposition of the organic matter at the bottom of the water bodies. So we are already having less water resources. So if there will be more water pollution, more nitrate content, more use of chemical fertilizers, there will be more death of the water bodies, which we cannot afford. Then third harmful effect is biological magnification. The term biological magnification means increase in the concentration of harmful toxic chemicals in the water bodies through the food chain by the living organisms which are present in the water bodies. So we can explain it with a very simple example. Supposing we are having a water body called pond. This pond is having green algae which is being eaten up by the insects. Insects are eaten by small fish. Small fish is eaten by large fish and by ultimately man. So this is a food chain present in the pond. Now let us suppose green algae is having 0.1 parts per million of mercury in the pond. When this green algae is eaten up by the insects, this percentage or this concentration of the mercury will increase to 1 ppm in the next level. When small fish will eat the insects, this amount of mercury will increase up to 10 ppm. And in the next step, when the large fish eat the small fish as the food, this will increase up to 100 ppm. And when that fish is taken as a food by the man, it has increased now from 0.1 ppm to the 1000 parts per million. So it means there is continuous increase in the concentration of mercury at every step of the food chain by these living organisms. This increase is known as biological magnification. This biological magnification is not happening only in the mercury content, it is happening in number of other metals also. So it means accumulation of the harmful chemicals is leading to loss of many species, particularly predatory birds like eagles, hawks, etc. So similarly, DDT accumulation goes on in the water bodies. It leads to thinning of the eggshells and it is declining in the bird species with eggshell production. So thinning of the eggshells is leading to the rupture of the eggs, shells during the incubation and death of birds take place before the birth. It is leading to the extinction of many bird species. So according to WHO reports, that is World Health Organization, more than 50,000 people get poisoned annually in the developing countries like India due to the use of toxic chemicals used in the agriculture by the accumulation. It means toxic pollutants like DDT, BHC, aldrin, they are undergoing biological magnification and entering into the food chain, and ultimately there are reports that DDT is present in alarming concentration in the breast milk of the female also, which we consider as the most safest food. So it means situation is quite alarming. Besides this, we are having many harmful diseases which are due to the water pollution. So polluted water contaminated with pathogens means which can cause a disease that cause infections or the waterborne diseases like cholera, jaundice, typhoid, dysentery, hepatitis, etc. So mercury present in the water bodies also undergo biological magnification through the fishes. Man-eating poisoned fish lead to the development of Minamata disease. So this disease was reported first of all in the Japan because the fish which was rich in the mercury, it has led to the numbness of the lips and the limbs or the impaired speech and the blurred vision, and many people died on the same night. So mercury can cause even the genetic disorders also. So it is a silent killer in the human body. So we have to take the mercury poisoning very seriously. Then lead present in the polluted water, it can cause the anemia, that is loss of the iron, deficiency of the iron, headache, and the paralysis in the humans. Similarly, cadmium in the wastewater leads to the renal damage, hypertension in the human body. Arsenic as a pollutant, it causes the mental disturbance. It leads to liver ulcer, lung cancer, or the various gastrointestinal disorders. Water pollution, it also leads to the presence of nitrates. So the presence of nitrates in the water bodies, it causes blue baby syndrome, means the death of the child even by taking the water. Then selenium causes the fever, nervousness, vomiting, and dental caries. So all these diseases, they are enough to understand the concept that man should not pollute the water. So consumption of the polluted water, it means it is leading to various diseases not only in the man but also in the animals. It is affecting the plants also because the rate of the photosynthesis is getting reduced due to the water pollution in the plants too. So it means water quality standards has to be checked somewhere. So water quality standards should be laid to check the control of the water pollution. At least we should have some standard that this water is fit for drinking. So water quality standards are the foundation of water quality based pollution control program mandated by Clean Water Act. So water quality standards define the goals for a water body, that this water body is fit for drinking. By designing its uses, setting the criteria to protect the uses, designing anti-degradation policies to protect the water bodies from the pollutants. So it means there is a need to control the water pollution. So what we have to check the control of the water pollution to save ourselves. So we can take some simple measures like we should not take bath and wash clothes in the water bodies like tanks, ponds, streams that are source of supply of drinking water. There should be separate ponds and tanks for the wild animals and cattle for drinking water so that the animal based diseases or the diseases of the wild animals and cattle should not transfer to the human beings. Then domestic and industrial wastewater should be treated before it's disposable. The overuse of fertilizer and pesticides should be avoided to minimize the water pollution. Rather, we should prefer biofertilizers and biopesticides. Then hot water which is being released by the thermal power plants, it should be allowed to pass through the cooling towers before it's released into the water bodies. We are having one of the very good technique like phytoremediation, which can help to clean the water which is already being polluted. So such water bodies can be cleaned by the phytoremediation. What is phytoremediation? It is uptake of the heavy metals through these plants like water hyacinth at the source of generation. It can help to recover the metal also. Supposing we are having some iron industry, so we know there will be definitely heavy metal like iron at the release or in the wastewater of that industry. We can have a small phytoremediation unit. We can grow certain water hyacinth plants. This heavy metal of iron can be uptaken by the roots. We can allow the drying of the leaves and we can recollect that metal also. So phytoremediation can help to great extent to handle the industrial wastewater. Similarly, we are having bioremediation, that is uptake of the heavy metal pollutants using living organisms. We can use even algae, we can use bacteria, we can use fungi, we can minimize the industrial wastewater pollution. So wastewater can be treated also, which can be used by the agriculture sector. So this treatment of the wastewater can be done through primary treatment, secondary treatment and tertiary treatment. So let us see what is this primary treatment. Primary treatment means polluted water which is having all the solid and liquid impurities. First of all, we remove the solid large impurities which are in the form of stones, grit, or the polythene bags, etc. That removal of the solid impurities is done during the primary treatment. So it includes shredding, churning, screening of large solid waste. Then sedimentary waste is settled down in the form of organic matter. The settled layer of the heavy organic matter is called sludge. So this upper layer of the wastewater is passed over for the secondary treatment. So what is secondary treatment? Secondary treatment is also called biological treatment. So the wastewater which has already undergone primary treatment, it is allowed to undergo secondary treatment. So impure water is treated with small microorganisms which can eat up the organic matter. And after eating up of the organic matter, this water becomes now clean. It means aerobic and anaerobic decomposition of the organic matter has taken place and water has become clean. Then it is sterilized by the disinfection. The chlorination is done and the ozone treatment is done to destroy all the microorganisms which are present in the water. It helps in disinfection of the water and this clear water is allowed to pass for the tertiary treatment. It is the expensive part of the treatment. It is done only when the water has to be recycled. It includes precipitation, filtration and deaeration. The precipitation of various impurities is done using different chemicals like alum, ferric chloride and the lime. The filtration involves removal of the precipitates and aeration is done to remove the oxides and the remaining impurities. So this water can be used for the different purposes. Besides this, we are having ion exchange and reverse osmosis, very good alternative to treat the wastewater. So in the end, we can conclude that water pollution has to be taken very seriously because water is the basic necessity of life for all of us. It is the uh, necessary for the survival of the mankind. So you have learned, children, many sources of the water pollution. So it is our utmost duty to remove all those causes of water pollution. So let us take pledge, all of you, that we should not throw any kind of garbage into the water bodies. We should not pollute the water bodies because they are the basic lifeline of the life. So all of us can exist only if water exists. it is necessary. So I hope so. You must have learned some good points from this video. So kindly share it with your friends. And I am greatly thankful to you that you will share and you will learn to stop the water pollution. Thank you. Thank you so much.